So yeah, we started recording now. So as you saw, Becca started the recording. So yeah, you can all remove your camera. You can also leave it on actually. I will be recorded me only. We let the room open so that everybody can join in because it is actually a talk mainly. At the end, we will have a Q&A where you can also ask me questions. And then we will also lock the room so that we create a safer space. And yeah. So hello, welcome to the Fruits of Passion Safer Sex Workshop. My name is Janina Vivianne. I'm an event organizer and sex educator from Europe. I live in Vienna and Berlin. And yeah, today I want to show you some safer sex tools, how we can make sex a bit more safe, but still juicy. Woo. Sorry. So yeah, I brought a lot of beautiful fruits, a table full of safer sex toys that I will show you in a minute, and a lot of knowledge about safer sex. I was on 10 festivals last year giving some safer sex education and distributing about 9,000 condoms, and organized a lot of play parties where, yeah, the topic safer sex is very important. And I think in a time of serial monogamy and also, yeah, non-monogamy, it's very important to raise the awareness about safer sex and stay informed. I mean, there's not so much that changed, but there is really a lot of things that also come new. Like, for example, HIV, there is now medicine. And it is like there's still new things that are found out with a lot of diseases. So I think you'd never know everything. And also for me, I still learn some new things. So what will I talk about today? First of all, I will, in general, talk about safer sex. Then I will talk about how to get tested and what should you test. Then I will also try to, Becca, could you remove me as a host? Because now I see the whole time who is dropping in and it disturbs me a bit. So yeah, I will talk about also, yeah, how you get tested, about the different STIs, so the most common, but also the other 10 that are quite relevant. And also I will, yeah, show you the different tools, supplies, and maybe also some how to have sex with more than 2 people, what you should take care of. So yeah, I really like to compare safer sex or sex in generally with climbing, because the metaphor is a bit similar. You really need to know, okay, which tools do I use? So do I use condoms? Do I use gloves? Do I use a dental dam? Then also, with whom do I go on that mountain? So who is my partner? Who is he maybe also related to? Then also the communication. So yeah, what agreements do we have? Are we monogamous or do we have some other partners? Which barriers do we use with these people? Then also a bit like the techniques. Do we use ropes? Do we take knots? What kind of stuff do we do? Do we go on a very high mountain? So maybe, I don't know, swinger parties every weekend, or do we mostly stay at home? So I think it really makes a difference what kind of mountain do you want to climb. And then also the question, how high do you want to get on that mountain? Which level do you want to go? With that metaphor, you can see it actually from 2 sides. The side of sobriety. So do we use alcohol or drugs? Because often they can, yeah, make everything a bit more blurry, like consent, safety. It's not so easy to judge. But also it is about, yeah, which practices do you want to make? How deep do we want to go? Do we want to go for penetrative sex, or do we actually really are not at all at the moment into that? So yeah, I really like the metaphor because this climbing on the sexual mountain can be very exciting and fulfilling. But I think with communicating about that, we can, yeah, make it safer. I think that's very important. We can never have safe sex. There is no 100%. We can only try to make it safer. And yeah, for that, yeah, I have a lot of little tools. I will try to show you around on my safer. And I got a call. So I switch around. So here we go. That's my safer sex table that I prepared for you. So where do we start? Everybody knows the condoms. So there's really a lot of different ones. I really like those that I get sponsored from because they have a lot of different sizes. So it's really important when you have like the right size. It's not about the length of the penis, it's about the diameter. So this is like the centimeters around. So for 60 is kind of a bigger, 64 is quite big. And yeah, you have the different sizes. And for me, it really made a difference to see that, yeah, that it's feeling way better also for me and for my partner if we use the right size. Then I usually, when I go to play parties or also to new people or in general, I have my little safer sex bag. So there inside, I have some gloves that I put in a package because I don't need the big glove package. I have some little things for my fingers. Then I have a little handy disinfectant spray. So I will explain you that later, what I do with it. Here I have some silicone lube and I have some water-based lube. And here I have some dental dams. It's basically the same than a cling film, what you find in your kitchen. You can also take this. It's not really fitting in the bag, but yeah, if you're at home or if you have a play party, just put it on your safer sex table. I can show you later what you do with it. So here you have the different kind of disinfectants. I have often like the sheet with me when I'm on the go, but also a little toy disinfectant. So it's really important, never put this on your body, yeah, especially not on your vagina. It's really to disinfect the toys after you use them. And it's important to, yeah, keep it on 2 or 3 minutes so it can, yeah. Here is gel for the hands. So yeah, after that I touched my genitals or the genitals of someone else, I disinfect my hands. I mean, now with Corona, we got quite used to it, but here you also see some internal condoms, also called female condoms, but you can also use them for any gender, also in the anus. And here we come to the different kind of lubes. It's very important to not use coconut oil with condoms because they can get some micro fissures, so little holes, and not be safe anymore. So even if you don't see the condom breaking, it is not safe anymore. Silicone oil is, I really like it for penetrative sex and also for stimulation and massage, but actually it don't go well with a plastic toy or silicone toys because it actually destroys the plastic. So that's something, yeah, lube is quite complicated and I could talk quite a while about it. If you really want to go safe and use it for everything, use the water-based lube. I really like to take it in little packages so that I don't have to take a big bottle. So yeah, this is mainly my safer sex table. I will take this with me and go back with you to my little place. So yeah, this was the safer sex table. And sorry, I'm a bit limited in my space here. So I quickly look if there's already any questions or stuff from Becca. No. Does oil and silicone sex toys goes well together? So yeah, it's basically silicone sex toys with silicone oil don't go well together. Oil and sex toy goes well together. but they don't then go well together with the condoms. So it's a bit complicated. And yeah, if you really want to go safe, I would say use the water-based lube. Yeah. So I mean, everyone know how to use a condom, but there is some little things that happen. Even of me, I'm a greedy person, or I was when I didn't have so much condoms. I put my condom, oh shit, it's wrong, and I turn it around. But what happened in these little seconds, it's not like it fall on the ground, but like when I put it like this, there can be already bacteria or other infectious things. So just throw it away. It's not worth it. Take a new one. Your body will thank you for it. So yeah, I also really like to try to make safer sex sexier. So I don't know, sometimes I try to hold it, put a bit down, but then I make the rest with my mouth. I don't know. That's yeah. Or also when I'm on festivals or when I'm with people that I don't know, I use gloves for any hole that I penetrate. And you can also already play with the gloves before. You can like slightly touch the hand or the skin of the person. You can already make a little game out of it. You can take different colors. You don't have to take the blue one that you remember you are, yeah, a doctor, but I really like to make a little thing out of it. Also, I like to have two different colors. So when I play with two different people, or also even if I play just with myself and a partner, I can remember this hand is for myself and this hand is for the other one. Or I can remember, okay, red is for Jana and okay, this is also red, but let's say the black one is for Mark. And when I switch my hands, also the other one can be aware which is my color. Because it's really important when I stimulate my partners that I don't switch the hands, because I could transfer bacteria or STIs to the other person. Also then I can remove the glove and touch myself. So these are little things that yeah, come up when you play a lot with different people. Yeah, I see myself, for example, as an ethical slut. So I have a lot of contact with different people, but I try to do that as safe as possible and communicate very openly about it so that people can take their own risk assessment. So another little trick with love than more than two, is the internal condom. So if you sleep with two women and one man, or even more people, but people with a vagina, you can use this internal condom. And if you put it in the two person with a vagina, the man don't have to switch condom every time that he switch the hole. So yeah, this is an internal condom. You actually squeeze it together, put it into the vagina. This goes in. When you use it in the anus, I recommend you to remove this ring because it's then way more comfortable to get it in and also out. I'm a real fan of it. I don't know, for me this, yeah, I really like it. But I have to say it's quite costly, so it's between €2.50 and €3. Yeah, euro, dollars, whatever. So yeah, I show you now how I use this cling film. So I really actually like this one more than the other sheet because it's transparent. So I actually can see through. So I also can see the genital. I actually use it mostly for vaginas because for penises, yeah, a condom is way better too. So yeah, I can put it here around my, not vagina, but my fruit of passion. And then I, yeah, just go on with oral sex. Yeah, I understand that at the beginning it feels a bit disconnected, but it's like a bit the same like when you use a condom the first time. You're a bit it feels a bit interesting, but it's a really safe way to have oral sex, and I really recommend it. So yeah, going further, I think one of the most important thing with safer sex is communication. So to really have a talk. Those of you who did ISTA know maybe the RBDSM method. So I will go through that one. So it's relationship, boundaries, desire and fears, sexual health, and meaning and aftercare. So what do I mean with that? I lost my paper, but I can also do it without a paper, of course. A relationship, so in which relationship am I? Am I in a polyamorous relationship? Do I have other partners? How are my agreements with these people? Which boundaries do I have? So also, is it easy for me to give consent, or do I actually have problems with that? So it's really to talk about all these little topics. Then what are my desires in this context now, or also in general about fantasies? And maybe also really try to share about your fears. I think that's often not easy, especially when it's a new connection or you kind of, I don't know, it goes quick. But I think for afterwards, it really helps you to not, get triggered or go into spaces. Also, to be a bit trauma aware. So if you had any things in the past, share them so that the people cannot tap into these taboos. Then also sexual health. So I try to ask 3 main questions. When was your last test? Then I ask, how many partners did you have since your last test? And also, how did you protect with these people? After this question or discussion or sharing, I try to take my own risk assessment. So do I want to go in a contact with that person? And which barriers do we use? I think it's really important to also not shame the people if they actually have an STI, and there is many ways to have sex, also without penetration, or actually with ways to make it safe. Also, especially now in times of Corona, I mean, there is no safer sex in times of Corona. Sex is not safe. Actually, contact, physical touch is not safe. So this whole talk is based on a time when there is actually not Corona. I also, my partner wrote a guide, Safer Sex in Times of Corona, that Becca will send you the link. Then you can look it up. There is a lot written about also safer sex in virtual spaces. So how can we actually protect ourselves when we go intimate with someone virtually? But also physically, how do you transmit Corona? But I will not go into that because that's a way too big topic, actually. Okay. Yeah, I take a quick break to look into my notes. So I will now try to share about the different STIs to give you a little overview. Normally I don't do that before my events because often then the people are quite shocked because they didn't know so much, and then the whole night they're thinking about that. I did that on my first play party, and then I got the feedback of, Janina, I really love your safer sex education, but that was a bit too much. So as the most of us are sitting now alone in front of our computer and you joined the Safer Sex Talk, I will enlighten you with a lot of information. So there's HIV. That is one of the most common, not one of the most common, but it's actually one of the most known after the pandemic in the 80s. But since then there is a lot of things that changed. So there is there is now a medicine that you can take when a person have HIV. So there's actually two medicine. There's PrEP and PEP. And when you, now I get into a space where I'm not but yeah, so you can take this medicine and it will protect you 48 hours when you have sex with someone who might have HIV. And you have PrEP that you take when you actually have HIV, and that you cannot transmit it to the other person. So that's especially for person who have who have actually HIV and then get into contact. And when it's not detected in the test, it's also not transmittable. Then we also have chlamydia. It's one of the most common STIs in the world, actually. The important thing is that chlamydia can show a lot of symptoms, but in 70% for women, actually, it don't show symptoms. So it often stays undetected and get transmitted very easily. So about with smear infection, so when you touch, for example, yourself and touch then someone else, it could be transmitted. So that's why it's also very important to always switch condoms when you switch holes, to not when you have sex with more than 2 people. Another important thing is that chlamydia can cause infertility, and is also the cause of a lot of English is not my native language, when the kids get miscarriages. Then you have HPV. HPV is the humanopapillovirus that it's very complex. It has more than 128 different strengths, but the most there's different risks also. So you have a high risk. These can cause different cancers, mostly cervical cancers. Then you have like a low risk of cancer, and there is also some who make some warts. So this there's very different strengths, but the very worrying about is that you really don't see it, and it really often don't get tested. It's about, I don't know, I'm not sure, the numbers are very fluctuating, but around 80% already had it. It also goes away again. But yeah, it's when you don't use protection, it's very most likely that you get it, because it can also be internal. I quickly look on. So yeah, hepatitis B is also a very common STI that is easily 100 times more easy to get than HIV actually. It is a virus that affects the liver and also can lead to death actually. Then you have herpes. So it's what you know on your lips, but you can also, that's herpes 1, but you can also actually get it on your genitals, and that is herpes 2. And herpes 1 and 2 can also, so with my oral, I could transmit it to your genitals, for example. Then there is syphilis. Syphilis is a bacterial infection that have different stages and can lead till death. It have really like having fever. It starts with a little plate on your body. It is quite severe, but now it's quite easy treatable. But like in the 50s back then, it was leading to causing a lot of deaths. Then there's gonorrhea. That also can be, so a lot of STIs actually can be also in the throat. So that's very important. And when you get tested, that you also ask to get tested in your throat and in your anus if you had anal sex. So yeah, gonorrhea is have a lot of burning and pain, and actually quite a lot of symptoms. So it's often like, especially in the genitals, you feel it, but in your throat and in your rectum, it can stay symptomless. Yeah, so then there is also scarbies, that are little animals that are on your body with like close contact of around 5 minutes. It can be transmitted, it's most likely that it has been transmitted. So yeah, it itches really a lot, especially in the night. Yeah, so also when you go, for example, to a sex positive festival or a party, always bring your own sheets or your own lungis to really, yeah, reduce this infection possibility. Also, if you are into shibari and ropes, bring your own ropes. We had quite of problems in the community with that. Then there is trichominasis. That's also a very common STI, that are little animals that very little parasites that are in the genital area, and yeah, it have a very yellowish color. It smells very fishy. Yeah, it is. Yeah, it often don't really have symptoms, just this this smell. The thing is that it really also can lead to infertility, so it's important to take medicine for it. A lot of, or actually most of these STIs, you can now take very easily some medicine for it, but that's why it's so important to get tested, because a lot of these STIs don't have some symptoms or only have them a short period. And by getting tested regularly, you don't take only care of yourself, but also with the people that you get intimate with. So that, let me check if I did them all. I like to forget some. No, but I think I went through the most important ones. Yeah, there's also the yeast infection, actually. That is not an STI, but also can cause pain and is not very nice to have. So I see there was a question: can all STIs be transmitted through the throat and anal? So not all, but the most actually. So it can be here inside of your throat, but the question is if it reaches your throat, because you have a lot of bacteria also in your mouth. So it is the question if the bacteria in your mouth don't kill the bacteria, the infection. But you can also, for oral sex, for example, use mouthwash the next days afterwards, and it kills these bacteria. So it can really also reduce the risk of getting an infection in your throat. And yeah, I would say just get tested regularly, and then you also, I, for example, only use condoms with people that I meet casually, let's say, and only with my partners where we both have tested, where I know who are the contacts of this person. Then I also do oral sex without. So also very important, getting tested is not to then don't use a protection anymore. It's just to be aware, because a condom is not, there is still a lot of STIs that can be transmitted with a condom. So for me to know that the person is aware of their own status, is really risk aware, sex aware, really helps me also to connect with that person. At the beginning, it's always a bit awkward to actually have that talk, but now it's gotten my kink. I don't know, I really like to talk about it, because then I can also really feel way more connected with that person, feel way more safe, and also then the interaction that we have together is way more pleasurable for me. So yeah, I would say one last little thing is that it's also important, it's not just we drop a pill and it's away, because there's also a lot of antibiotic resistance that are building up the last years, because we just drop a pill, and then it gets more and more difficult to treat some diseases. So especially gonorrhea and chlamydia getting more and more resistant. There's, for example, a super gonorrhea strain now that is quite painful, as a friend told me, and really not easy to get away. So yeah, I really would recommend you all to talk about STIs, to talk openly and without shame about it, to be role models and ambassadors for this very important topic. We have to bring it more out in the society, because I think there's still a lot of shame and guilt about these topics. And yeah, we can make the world way more safer. So yeah, I would say we can have a little Q&A, so you can write your questions in the chat, or you can also raise your hand and Becca will unmute you and you can ask me. So Becca, you write it to me in the chat, right? In our chat. So yeah, I was a bit quicker than I was thinking. So I got the question, someone had unprotected sex with someone who lied about their STI status, and they had an asthmatic herpes 2. I have no symptoms. Should I get tested? I would say it's always good to get tested, actually. So if you have any doubts, it's also important to see about the incubation times. So the regular STIs have between 1 and 3 weeks. So also don't get tested before. For HIV, it's 3 to 6 weeks. It's depending also the test. So yeah, I would recommend to go test it. It's very different in every country. And as we are a world festival, I just say in my country, I go to the primary care doctor, and he give me then a letter to go to a lab. And if I have symptoms, it is for free. So yeah, he's not checking me, and then yeah, I can get these tests for free in Austria and Germany. I don't know how it is in your country. I will also share a link where you can find, at least for Europe, how you can get tested and where you can get tested for free. And it's always important to specifically ask for what do you want to get tested, because they always forget something and they're also not really aware of all the STIs that are common. So I see a new question. Will a blood test confirm or deny the presence of all STI, or is it necessary to get a PAP and a blood test? So yes, for men, actually, it is often sufficient for the most STIs to take a blood test. I always get also a PAP test, so a smear test, inside of my vagina and also outside, and also inside of my throat. They need to go inside of your throat to test it. For the anus also, but the most common, like chlamydia, syphilis, gonorrhea, can be tested by blood, and HIV, of course. But most, when you want to take the full screening, you have to make both. So I see a question. Can herpes 1 be transmitted through oral sex even if there is no breakup? But I think you mean breakout. So no, if you don't have an actual open wound, so your herpes is active, you cannot transmit it. That's the same with HIV, HPV, sorry. HPV have these warts then in your vaginal area, and often they have to be then removed with a cream or cut it to not be transmittable anymore. So if someone have these warts on their genital area, they can still be transmittable. But this is not herpes, this is then HPV. And so when these warts are there, you should not have sexual contact and the person should go to the doctor. But if someone had HPV and the warts are not there anymore, like on the outside, because on the inside you cannot see it actually, so that's why you shouldn't always take a condom, you cannot transmit them anymore. So I find a long question. I'm finding more and more guys that don't want to wear a condom. I prefer it, but have found myself sometime in a moment where I cave in. Could you recommend any specific condoms that feel more real? I'm having a latex allergy too. So yeah, for me, on the latex, with latex, I really can recommend these Mr. size condoms because they have like different sizes. They also have some packages where it's like 3 different sizes inside. Sorry. So these ones are quite, for me, like feel the most real because they are really adapting to the size, and also they don't have a taste. So I use them for oral, and I don't like that when they have like a really strong taste, and these ones don't have a taste at all. And also, yeah, if you want to use them for oral, don't use some with some making the sex longer, because then your whole mouth get numb. So on latex-free condoms, I can recommend Skin latex-free. They are also very thin but very resistant, and also have inside a good loop film. Maybe Becca can research the Skin latex-free condoms and post it in the group. I will look now into our question. Can you still allow oral sex if you have papillovirus? So it depends where is your virus. If you have actual HPV on the outside, I would recommend to not do, or also with a lot of protection. So I think if you use cling film, for example, then you can have oral sex. Otherwise, I would not really recommend it, and go to doctor. But I understand that the papillomavirus is a really quite long procedure, and also, but yeah, really try to stay safe, because this is something that always come back. So if someone had the warts, it can come the lifelong. It can have a new outbreak if you get into stress, or if your body immunity system is low. So how to have an open communication before having sexual activities? It might break the mood. So for me, I really like to do it before I get into the sexual mood, because yes, it's really hard when you are shortly before, like for example, penetrative sex, and then you talk about it. So in times of internet, I really recommend to, for example, talk about it before on the chat, but I also understand that that could make a pressure on the actual date. I sometimes like to, yeah, talk like, say, hey, I found this amazing website, make time for a talk. Becca will also share that link. There is also a whole amazing questionnaire where you can fill out the different things on what did you get tested, what are your risk assessments. And by doing such a little thing together, you can also, yeah, have a little helper. Or also what I like to do is to actually have my STA status in a PDF folder and just say, hey, I don't know where tonight will lead, but these are my STIs results. Just that you know, I want to be completely open, and safer sex is a very important topic for me. So then I read the question. When will be a good time to arrange the clarification of both partners and more are tested? Yeah, I really recommend to do it in advance, or when you are quite on the beginning, drinking a cocktail. Yeah, using these little helpers from the RBDSM or the Stars talk from Evelyn Decker that I can also really recommend because it's also very clear. So there's little tools, or watch together a TED talk about that, for example. So here, sex with men. How do you protect from STIs and the scrotum? For example, HPV on the scrotum and contact with vulva. How do you wrap the scrotum? I mean, I really can recommend the cling film, or like the actual dental dam. So I quickly show you also that one. It's a very thin latex sheet. Here it is. It have a different taste. You can take vanilla or cherry. Yeah, by using that, you can, of course, protect yourself. Do you have any resources about same-sex STI transmission rate for women? It is very hard to find information on the internet, especially on SVE1. If you use cling film, how would it be secured? And is there a safe way to have female-to-female sex in person if the one person is infected with herpes? I don't now have like a quickly link. I was also researching it because I'm bisexual and I do have sex with women. So back to that one and this beauty. I also really use for every toy a condom, and when I switch condom too. So that's important that you also really disinfect your hands. I would say the herpes, it depends where it is. I think that I can't share the link now because I cannot research it, but maybe I can try to send a link collection in the participant group later, where I will try to include all these links. Do you have a website where to check on things you use and you recommend? So I actually have two websites. One is sexpositive.com that Becca can share now, where you find the safer sex, what to test, where to get tested, and the most common STIs. And then also I have a website, SexAware, where there's also more information about sexual transmission, about the period time, incubation time. I think this video will also be online, so you can also have a look on the safer sex materials. But I can share a picture what is on my little table. So yes, I quickly looked through the how do you secure the wrap on the testicles? Have you tried it before? Of course I did. I don't know how exactly it is with nudity and I'm not wearing an underwear. So I will do it. So I can put it here. So you can really plug it into your ass. That's why I really like this cling film. And the other one, I would say you really have to hold it. And it's also really important that you don't forget which side it is, because then also you would transmit the bacteria. So yeah, that's why I said it's a funny sex talk, because there's always funny stuff that happens, like my camera or me playing with carrots. Any other questions before I do other silly stuff? Also if you play with fruits, they are called fruits of passion, but still use a condom, because you don't know which pesticides with bacteria, with little animals can be on there. I really recommend you to, when you go to a party, to take a little bag where you put all the stuff that you might need, because it also can be a good icebreaker when you say, hey, what's that bag? Oh, that's my little safer sex bag. You want to have a look? And then you can already share a bit of information about STIs and also check, yeah, how much does your partner, the person that you are meeting at the moment, knows already. So I really like that. Yeah. Any other questions or things that I can share? Looking. Yeah, I can really share a little funny yeah, thing of my life. I was once with one of my partners in the bedroom, and we had another guy over, and it was already dark in the room, and I kind of took my phone, put the lamp on, and went down on him, and my friend was like, "It's over soon." And I quickly checked his genital area, his penis, yeah, to really have a look. So for me, it's not only important to talk about STI, but I also have a quick look. How does this, yeah, genital look like? How does the genital smell? So these are all little factors. If you feel insecure, and if there is an insecurity, just talk about it. Because there is a lot of things that may look a bit weird, but is very normal. So for example, if you have some little white things here, it's called crown prints. I'm not sure in English actually, but it is not an SDI. But by talking about it, you also remove the shame, or asking about awards that you see somewhere. Have you let that check or something? So I really try to openly communicate about the things that I see, that I need to know to feel safer. And often the people, as it is their own body, they already know about it. So yeah, the website to check, I share my links, but also, yeah, I will make a post, but also another website that is very accessible also for people with disabilities. Yeah, if they have like audio and they really describe it with pictograms. So yeah. Can you copy me the question, dear Becca, because I'm on my phone and I don't see the question. Perfect. So to talk about safer sex with potential partner, I make it an easy topic by asking, do you know about the STARS talk? It helps me breaking the subject. First, going with the sharing can also release the mood for others. Yeah, that was more a comment, but thank you a lot. So yeah, I already mentioned the STARS talk of Evelyn Decker. It's a really amazing tool, like the RBDSM tool, to share, to openly communicate about safer sex, and also all the other topics that are quite related to it. Yeah, so thank you a lot for, yeah, paying attention to the topic of safer sex. I really find that in our society, sex positivity is rising so much, and also, yeah, the interest about sexuality. But at the same time, we also have to raise the awareness around safer sex. And yeah, I all see as an ambassador to get out of the world, in the world, and talk about these things. And yeah, be a role model. Just one thing, I also don't do the full talk every time. But if I just, I don't know, share about 50 or 80% from what I talked with you now, I already think that's a lot. And I think by, yeah, practicing it even more and every time, it gets way less awkward. And yeah, I think it can also be quite fun. Yeah. Or you can also play just with fruits with people to show them some safer sex techniques and make it a bit juicy and funny. Yeah, fruits of passion with the passion fruit. Okay, I think I will give you a bit of a longer break if there is no more questions. And yeah, thank you a lot for your time. So dear Becca, what do we do now? Goodbye, my dears. Bye-bye. See you in another workshop. Thank you. Becca, can we close the room earlier, or do we have to stay?
I'll close the room, yeah.